Welcome back to Dreamhack Summer 2011. I'm Day 9.
And I am D Apollo.
And it's time for Huck vs. LaLush. One of the final matches of the day. After this one, we'll be casting Huck vs. Moon.
That's a pretty exciting game.
That is going to be great, but until then, it looks like we are in the match. These players are trying to accelerate the pace as games are being played because, again, the Terran vs. Terran players refuse to do anything but build tanks and sit around going, well, I'm not going to attack them. So it looks like the countdown has started.
Ooh, the first map for this is going to be Terminus. And Huck is currently 3-0 in his groups, and LaLush is 2-1, losing versus Moon. And like you said, Huck will be playing against Moon after this. But for now, it's going to be Huck versus LaLush.
And it looks like the match has indeed started. In the top, we have one of the most popular players in StarCraft 2 of all time. It is Liquid Huck. Well known in the early days for building things like motherships and winning anyways. But lately his results have not been so good, and the perhaps lesser known player from Team Millennium, the Zerg, LaLush.
And I personally am excited to see Huck play, especially in an international tournament, and to be live commentating here in the front seat. This guy has been getting better and better and better as time goes on. He started off very rocky with not many results, but that practice, there's so many months living in that OGS house, he has been getting so good.
Now, I have to ask, LaLush is somewhat of a lesser-known player. What information can you tell us about him?
Well, LaLush is an awesome Zerg player, first of all. He's had a lot of results in online tournaments for a very, very long time, and has been beating a lot of Protoss players and Terran players on the ladder most recently. When I am on Skype speaking with a bunch of other nerds, they're always complaining about, oh god, it's LaLush again, because he's so good.
Now, I have to ask, though, does LaLush have any big wins on the table? Because we have a lot of players like Happy who, you know, have had good results in small online tournaments, good results in the ladder. But we've seen that Happy ended up falling today, did not manage to get through Bomber and Mana, instead advancing in that group. What about LaLush?
He hasn't really won any offline tournaments, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he has had, like I mentioned, online success in cups like ESL. And he does take out big players, like in the recent ESL monthly cup, he took out Cass 2-0 and also took out Braddock 3-2, which are two amazing players. And in regards to ZVP, I haven't seen so much of that. I've just heard a lot about it with complainings on Skype, and it's pretty impressive. He does adapt a very Infesta Ling style play, that's for sure.
We do see LaLush, interestingly, getting a very fast gas, but Idra-esque only putting one drone into the mining. We do see now 2 Zerglings getting made. 1 Queen has enough money to be able to expand, but has not done that yet. Needs to be very careful that he doesn't get pylon blocked. In the meantime, it looks like Huck building a cannon, following that up with a Nexus, so it looks like we're going to be seeing the startings of a macro-style game.
Oh, no, Lings need to turn around to go kill that probe. They did run past, and Huck just delaying that expo. And actually, LaLush is going to go ahead and build a hatchery down here. And it doesn't really matter too much because with Zergling speed, it doesn't really matter where the attack comes in. And especially with these destructible rocks on the side here, it's quite a safe pocket expansion. He just needs... The only bad thing about it down there is it's going to take a lot longer to connect it to the creep with creep tumors.
We do see the 2 assimilators going down for Liquid Huck. That does mean that he will be able to get some sort of tech-oriented play up very quickly, but what we've seen out of Huck lately is a lot of gateway focus, especially against Terran players, doing a lot of Blink Stalker play against Zergs, but keep in mind, he is in the OGS house with MC, who is the king of doing that sort of Void Ray, Phoenix, harass.
And Huck, renowned for consistently calling himself, well, saying that he has, you know, top 3 control in the world. And we'll have to see, can he pull that out? I mean, he's been doing quite well in GSL, sorry, recently. Had some decent results, unfortunately losing 2 Port Prime in the end. But this could be his tournament to win, his first large international tournament to win. And he's feeling confident about it. So far 3-0 in the group, and spoke to him earlier about it, and he feels that he's in really good shape at the moment.
And you know, perhaps it's unfair of me to say something like Huck really hasn't shown consistent results as of late. Huck is a player who has been in Code S multiple times, He even knocked out recently MMA, prevented MMA from getting into the Code S. So Huck, absolutely no pushover in the slightest. It's when he's competing against the best of the best that we've seen him falter a little bit. But how will he compete against LaLush, one of the lesser-known players in Europe? Still definitely a named player, but not one of those big names like a White Raw or like a Show.
And a second cannon has been built here by Huck, just a safe precaution. And that's probably because he feels that he is a better player than LaLush and does not want to lose to any Roachling aggression. Therefore, is just going to build a second cannon just in case of anything. And we do see the third hatchery going down for LaLush now in between this first and the natural he chose to take. And the Twilight Council's been added on rather early here. But the Overlord's not going to be able to scout it, I don't think. Actually, there's only one sentry. It might very well scout it.
Trying to pick it off.
No, it turns!
Oh, he's turning. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Did LaLush not see it?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
he turned.
Look at how close he was in vision range. And what will Huck follow this up with? Is it going to be Blink? Is it going to be Dark Templar? It looks like really fast Blink play.
And that's going to be hard to stop as well because the creep spread isn't that strong yet. And it hasn't started to spread out into the middle of the map. And without that, it's going to be difficult to use. And LaLush is actually adding on a Spore Crawler here. And without any Hydralisks being even started yet after this layer, it's going to be difficult to deal with Blink Stalker. So we're going to have to see, does he add on a Hydra Den, or is he just going to stick to Roaches here?
Looks like Blink is nearing completion. Warp Gate, +1 and Blink all going to finish relatively close to one another, allowing Huck to do somewhat of a big push. And a lot of times you will see this fast Twilight Council segue directly to a fast +2. Protosses are always delighted if they can get ahead of the Protoss in upgrades.
And LaLush has added on the Hydra Den. It is near completion, and that is going to be so key in fighting against Huck here. And I'd just like to give you the last time they played against each other. LaLush actually beat Huck 2-1 the last time they played against each other. So this is going to be so interesting. Huck now is pushing out, and LaLush knows what's happening. He's getting the +1 attack range, and is adding on a few Roaches now, and we'll start adding on those Hydras very, very shortly.
I really love any fast Blink Stalker play. You can easily lock down control on the map. Advancing forward, it's so safe due to the insane mobility, and we're seeing, wow, LaLush actually doesn't really have any units. Might just start losing some Overlords right here, but it looks like Huck going to begin pulling back. I think LaLush is quite surprised to see Stalkers that early on, but with a nice transfuse, still going to be struggling as that Stalker count continues to increase.
And LaLush is skipping a lot of lava injects right now in the main, and 12 Roaches are in production. Roach speed only just started though. It's going to be very hard to fight off against this with Huck's control. All these Stalkers are doing a lot of damage here. Queen goes down as well. But now Huck is going to back off from here. It looks like he's just going to go ahead and pressure with these beginning Stalkers and add on this third expansion here.
And there we see that +2 ground weapons. We see 4 gateways in the main, another 3 at the front. Huck refusing to stop this pressure. But LaLush has made a lot of Roaches, which can have some difficulty against Blink Stalkers. Hydras and Zerglings tend to be the composition of choice for Zergs, but LaLush still is having a lot of Roaches, so it can still be a little bit tricky for Huck unless he micros very well on this fringe of creep spread.
And the Infestation Pit has begun now. And Huck going to town on these rocks in the back, going to be a little bit annoying for LaLush now, because he's going to have to really defend on 2 fronts. And more reinforcements are coming in, a lot more Stalkers, and the Stalker count is getting quite high now.
And it looks like, oh no, LaLush repositioned himself incorrectly. Now the Roaches are advancing forward, but keep in mind the Stalker count is bigger than the Roach count. And there Huck doing some huge blink, pulling everything back, but now we do see a bunch of Hydras are going to pop out. Right now we have 6 total, plus those 10 Roaches. Still looking very, very thin for LaLush as the Stalker count continues to increase, 26 Stalkers.
And Stalkers are not even that bad against Hydras once the Roaches go down. So all these, there's just too many Stalkers here, 10 Roaches in production, and I think he might actually just go ahead and overwhelm LaLush right now.
Oh no, Drone's taking a ton of damage. Liquid Huck.
Wow.
Now putting more wins on the table. It looks like it's going to be a nightmare for LaLush to defend. What does Huck do? He pulls back, lets those shields start to recharge, and oh no, the Overlords! In a terrible position.
And a lot of idle units on the third base. I'm not quite sure the waypoint is messed up for that third hatchery. And with these units, he could easily defend against this. But no, his units are cut in half. A huge blunder here by LaLush.
But it looks like LaLush finding them at the last second. Will it be too late? We're seeing LaLush barely not going to be able to defend this. Goes to show how a little mistake like a misrallied building can cost so much. Huck's aggression relentless now. We see 43 drones, only a few mining at the third, and none mining at the natural.
Wow, this is so bad. And now the Dark Shrine's about to finish also. And LaLush cannot stop this. A few DTs are going to go ahead and stop the mining on that third base. He can even include them inside his army because there are no Overseers with Blink Stalkers. He can even snipe any Overseers that do come out. And this is basically going to be the killing blow. I can't see anything that LaLush can do. He hasn't even got any detection on this natural here.
And here come the DTs. Oh, a fungal growth.
That was sick.
That was a very nice play by LaLush, but it might be too little too late. Huck trying to continue to blink back, but LaLush having a remarkable amount of roaches there. The force fields, the slice, preventing the Hydras from reinforcing the roaches, and Huck looks like he might finally be able to break through the front. LaLush been defending for minutes.
And wow, Huck is going to push through now. There's too many Stalkers, +2. And the Infestor goes down as well. Not enough roaches. More reinforcements from Huck are going to be streaming through now. 55 supply for LaLush, 90 for Huck. And this looks like the end of LaLush in the first game.
And there it is, the good game. Huck manages to take the win in that match. But you know what? It was an extremely close game, especially if you consider the fact that that rally point was messed up.
Wow, I mean, if he had that rally point there, he wouldn't have lost so many drones by pulling them off. Could have held on for a little bit longer, but relentless aggression over and over and over from Huck. Didn't really utilize that third base he built so early. It took him a long time to actually mine from that. All his money went into units as he smelt the win. And had he not smelt that victory right there, Huck could have easily continued into that third base and continued into the latest stages of that game.
But it goes to show you that LaLush, if he was prepared for that a little bit earlier, I think he would have been in fantastic shape. I mean, he was on the verge of preventing that attack from causing a finishing blow for a very, very long time. LaLush just needed a couple more units, like the ones that were down at that third base. A little bit of a disappointing first game from LaLush, as we can clearly see there was a lot of potential that never quite got revealed.
I think he was a little bit late on Hydra production too. He got the Hydra den very early, and I was like, okay, cool, this is not going to work for Huck. And then he just didn't build the Hydras for a very, very long time because he wanted the cheaper roaches out. But Hydras basically changed that fight around for LaLush. Having got them a little bit earlier would have definitely held that a lot stronger than he did. And unfortunately for LaLush, is going to be 0-1 then.